Alright, so welcome to my video essay, and then I will be arguing the benefits of collecting user data. Specifically, I'm going to focus on the idea that organizations such as companies can use collected user data to create better services and strategies, and I will show how this can benefit people individually. There is a general negative impression on organizations collecting data. I understand this. Data breaches, the infamous Facebook Cambridge scandal, these are all legitimate concerns. But from what I've researched, the benefits certainly outweigh the costs. And in addition to that, there are a few key points people are missing from when they think about the Facebook Cambridge scandal. Overall, I want people, especially those who are actively using social media, to be aware of the benefits of companies and organizations collecting user data. This is because if people are too against the idea of professionals collecting data, it can lead to the pursuit of prohibitive legislative measures, and this can impede so much technological progress that would benefit everyone. So, how can data benefit people individually? People tend to think that organizations collecting data has more of a collective benefit rather than an individual benefit. I will show that this is not true. One important way collecting data can benefit people individually is through the education sector. There are many cases where schools have used data to discover signs that a student is falling behind. Now, schools can intervene when those alarms go off. This can be what tips a potential high school dropout to becoming a high school graduate. Amy Gadara, CEO of the Data Quality Campaign, wrote how the Chicago public schools increased their high school graduation rate from 57% to 84%. She said the school district relied on collected student data to determine those key signs of a student falling off track. Another way collecting data can benefit people individually is through safer roads. Insurance company Progressive released their new Snapshot program, where drivers put a device in their car that measured the car's velocity and time of day. Their insurance rates are adjusted accordingly. Safer driving corresponded with lower rates. The device also had a beeping feature that had this sort of Pavlovian effect on drivers. If the driver does something Progressive didn't like, the device would beep. Joe Mana, a blogger, wrote how this encouraged him to drive safer and less at night. And this implies that this device could potentially encourage less texting drivers and less sleeping drivers. Organizations can also use data to create better strategies and or to spot and eradicate wastefulness in themselves. But how does this benefit people individually? Well, when a company becomes more proficient at its job, it can make more money and it can do more. It can grow bigger, hire more people, give people jobs, pay people more. And in addition to the employees of the company, it can also benefit the consumers of the company as well. Consumers can now buy better products and use more powerful tools. This implies individual benefits for the employees and the consumers. And the same goes for eradicating sloppiness in companies. So one example of organization using data to create strategies is the Bloodstock Management Scheme. This is a UK-based organization that extensively collects data on blood inventory management at hospitals. So in 2005, UK experienced two unexpected blood shortages. And in both disasters, hospitals used BSMS data to construct strategies on how to handle the shortages, minimizing the impact. Furthermore, the BSMS extensively collects data on blood wastage. Blood has always been an unpredictable commodity. The source is all volunteer based, blood has a natural expiration date, and well, as a result, unnecessary blood wastage should be eradicated. And a BSMS can achieve this by collecting data and serving as a sort of checker for hospitals. Organizations can also use data to achieve amazing feats, such as advanced video recommendation systems and better customer service. Companies are now extremely focused on collecting user data. And because of this, these companies and organizations can better their services and achieve amazing feats. In other words, companies can use data to innovate and create new technologies. And this is a rising tide, so it can lead to innovation in completely unrelated sectors. So one example of this is the YouTube recommendation system. It is a huge achievement in AI. And I included a quote from the Google research team, which is quite true. It represents one of the largest scales and most sophisticated industrial recommendation systems in existence. The model was trained based on data of the user's watch history, their search history, and also their demographics to predict what the user would watch next. This huge system was only possible through Google's massive databases of user data. As a result, we all now have access to this massive machine for free. And personally, I find it amazing. Although I've heard a lot of complaints online, I think the system works great. And considering how YouTube is the second most visited site in America, I think the system is doing good. So obviously, there are many counter arguments to this idea of companies and organizations collecting user data. And I think the most obvious of which is data breaches. And unfortunately, data breaches are inevitable since hackers and companies are basically at an arms race against each other. However, you could say that since data collection should be consensual, anyone who consents to having their data collected should be mindful of that. And in addition to this, a study on the statistics of data breaches, which I included in the bibliography, showed how data breaches have not risen in size nor frequency for the past decade. Another counter argument to collecting data was the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. Essentially, what happened was there was a political firm called Cambridge Analytica, and they hired this Cambridge University professor to design an app that could harvest data for the firm. And his app allowed users to take surveys. Now, technically, every user gave permission to the app to access their Facebook data. However, the professor did illegally sell the Facebook information to Cambridge Analytica, and this was completely against Facebook's terms of service and a misuse on their end. However, I do personally feel that hatred towards Facebook was a bit inflated because the users did actively agree that the app could access their Facebook information. If they hadn't done that, the app wouldn't have accessed it. So, in conclusion, I feel the benefits of collecting data certainly outweigh the costs. And yeah, thank you for listening.